I have been using the Samsung Galaxy S25 as my personal, cell phone since about the time that it came out. I think it was like maybe a week or so after that I got this phone. And I didn't make like a review or anything. In fact, I didn't talk about it on my YouTube channel at all because like me, I thought that people were tired of the gimmicky kind of like clickbait titles where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna compare these pictures to my full-size camera, and I get sick of those videos because everyone knows that a cell phone camera photo looks like a photo from a cell phone camera. And so I didn't do any of those videos because I don't like to watch them, and so I don't want to make them just for views or anything like that. If that's something that you guys are into and you want to see me make that video, let me know down in the comment, but I didn't want to make that video because I didn't want to insult anyone's intelligence. But for better or worse, I do think that the cameras on this cell phone are pretty usable, especially in cases where like I don't have like an action camera and I just need to record like some behind the scenes. This camera does really well, especially the video camera. We'll talk more about that later. But also, if I'm just out with like my kids or my wife and I need to snap a quick photo or something of something, it's easier to just take this out of my pocket, switch it over to the 200 megapixel option in the regular camera app, and just use that to snap photos. I don't get into the pro camera app or anything like that. I'm using third-party ones just because I think that with the main camera with 200 megapixels, that's going to give me the best photo. This camera does have like a 100 times optical zoom or whatever, but those always end up looking like trash, so I never use any of those. So just as a quick like point and shoot camera, I think that these sensors do a really good job, especially if you have enough light. I never use this camera at night. It's just trash. I think all small sensors are trash at night, and that's not something I'm willing to argue about. So yeah, that's the first thing I like about this. I am not someone who's interested in, comparing phone cameras and comparing things like that. I think that all of these cameras, especially from the big three, and maybe even the big four now, I think I would throw Xiaomi into that. They all look good on their own. It's only when people start like putting them side by side and being like, oh, pick the one that you like, that people really see a difference. But if you're taking pictures on your phone and you're just uploading them to social media, no one's looking at that picture and being like, that's a Samsung photo, it should have been like an Apple photo. So they all do really good, especially if you just treat them like point and shoot cameras. I think that these are pretty good cameras. The second reason that I like to use this is because I do a lot of like just street photography where I just go out with my camera and just shoot street photos. It's weird to strap a GoPro to my chest these days. You know what I mean? So I think I've said this in videos before, but I'm a fairly large dude. I'm almost 6'5". I'm like 260 pounds. Walking around with a GoPro strapped to my chest just gets all kind of, unwanted attention. And so in trying to, just stay as inconspicuous as I possibly can, I have just started to look most like a tourist as I can. And so when I'm doing that, I'll just use the 4K video on this phone to just, see what I'm saying like someone would with one of those videos, POV videos. And so I don't have like a phone harness that's strapped to my body or anything. I'll just hold it, talk about, what I am, seeing, or just record what I'm seeing and then snap those photos from there. So that's the second reason I like this. It has really good 4K. Again, I don't use the Pro app a lot. But the reason that I have started using the Pro Video app, the one that comes standard in this phone, is because that's the only way that you can shoot in 24 frames per second. And being able to do that is really important to me. I know that some people might say that you could just use 30, but the motion blur on there is really kind of, hit or miss. And so the way that I do it is I just take this little Earth ND filter that I have, and I'll just put it in front of the lenses. And so that lets me, you know, dial in the settings to wherever I need them. I don't record and log or anything like that. I don't think that most people will. I'm not a person who enjoys color grading. I don't think I'm good at it. So I just use the standard, you know, colors from the camera, shooting the Pro Video app, only to get to 24 frames per second, and then I just use that video, and I think that it comes out pretty good. The last thing that I like about having this camera is that you do get 120 frames per second in 4K without a crop. And this camera doesn't do that, my A7C doesn't do that, and it's not really something that I care too much about. I don't care about crops and stuff like that. I can't get 120 frames per second 4K video on my big camera, but I usually just shoot in 1080p. But you know, if I'm gonna use this camera, it's nice to have it in here, and so that just gives me another way to, you know, record these videos. And yeah, so I'll record at 120. It looks pretty good. And I think, again, I think that most of these cameras are gonna give you pretty decent video, and it's always in our pockets. I don't know that there's a whole lot more about the cameras on this, this cell phone that I can talk about. There's other things about this cell phone that I like. I like the way it looks and feels. I like the redesign so that it's not so sharp around the corners. 120 hertz screen, which is really cool. And then it gets really bright, so it does become a really good viewfinder. When you're outside and I'm using it as my video camera, I can always see it. And then the other thing is that when I am snapping photos with this camera, with the camera on this phone, I do like to jump into Lightroom Mobile and just edit them really fast. I do think that the colors coming out of this camera are a little oversaturated, and the photos can look a little flat and stuff like that. So I do edit those photos that I take on this phone. And so having a good screen, having a pretty good processor, having, you know, the having the RAM in this phone really does help out a lot. And so if you guys want me to do like a full review of this phone and tell you all the things about it, let me know down in the comments. But I thought that maybe people were kind of over it. That's it. That's the video. This is the first new phone that I've bought, and this is the first new camera that I've bought in 4 years. And those are the reasons why. I'm Jamil. This is a boy named Jamil. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.